Hello students. Today we will start communication skills, that is the unit 1 of your employability skills. Students, as you all know, communication is the imparting or exchanging of information by speaking, writing or using some other medium and means of sending or receiving information. Types of communication. There are two types of communications based on communication channels and based on style and purpose. Based on communication channels, communication is categorized into two categories. These are non-verbal communication and verbal communication. Based on style and purpose, communication is divided into two categories. These are formal communication and informal communication. Now, let us start with non-verbal communication. Non-verbal communication happens in the absence of any oral or composed words. Non-verbal communication depends on different non-verbal prompts like body movement, gestures, facial expressions, symbols, images, signals, and so on to express sentiments, attitude, or information. Verbal communication is the most popular means of sharing information or ideas. People use words to exchange thoughts, feelings, and ideas with others. Verbal communication is further divided into two categories, that is, oral and written communication. Oral communication is the most common medium of communication. It refers to spoken words being used to convey a message. Written communication. Written communication means communicating by means of written symbols, either printed or handwritten. Now, writing skills. Dear students, to communicate well, we must have a good command over the language in which we are communicating. We should also avoid any grammatical errors while writing. To improve our writing skills, we will study the basic components of English grammar and how they should be used effectively. Now let us start with phrases. Phrase is a group of words that form a unit within a sentence but is incomplete independently. Sentence. A group of words that makes complete sense is called a sentence. A sentence must contain a subject and a predicate. There are four types of sentences. Number 1, assertive sentence. It is a sentence that states a fact. It ends with a period sign. An imperative sentence is a sentence which gives a command. It ends with a exclamation mark. An interrogative sentence is a sentence that makes a question. It ends with a question mark. An exclamatory sentence is a sentence that expresses sudden or strong feelings and it ends with an exclamation mark. Parts of speech. Each word in the English language belongs to a particular class or part of speech. There are 8 parts of speech in English grammar. They are: number 1, noun. Noun is the name of a place, person, or a thing. Examples of noun are London, table, dog, teacher, pen, happiness, hope. Pronoun. A pronoun is used in place of a noun or noun phrase to avoid repetition. I, you, we, they, he, she, it, us, them are the examples of pronoun. Adjectivism describes or modifies or gives more information about a noun or pronoun. Big, happy, green, young, fun, crazy are the examples of adjective. Verb. A verb shows an action or state of being. A verb shows what someone or something is doing. Go, speak, run, eat, play, walk, have are the examples of verb. Adverb. An adverb describes or modifies a verb, an adjective or another adverb. It tells how, where, when, how often, or to what extent. Slowly, quietly, very, always, never, tomorrow are the examples of adverb. Preposition. A preposition shows the relationship of a noun or pronoun to another word. They can indicate time, place, or relationship. At, on, in, from, with, near, between are the examples of preposition. Conjunction. A conjunction joins two words, ideas, phrases, or clauses together in a sentence and shows how they are connected. And, or, but, because, so, yet are the examples of conjunction. Interjection. An interjection is a word or phrase that expresses a strong feeling or emotion. Wow, great, help, oh, hey, hi are the examples of interjection. Now, paragraph. A paragraph is a series of sentences that are organized and coherent and are all related to a single topic. Now, students, there are some points you need to keep in mind while writing a paragraph. They are: number one is topic. Decide a topic on which you are going to write a paragraph. Number two, introduction or topic sentence. It conveys the main theme of the paragraph. Third is explanation. After stating the topic sentence, provide information in 7 to 8 sentences to explain the topics in detail. Fourth is conclusion. After illustrating your point with relevant information, add a concluding sentence that summarizes the points made in the paragraph. Now, students, the next topic is barriers to effective communication. Now, first of all, let me introduce you with communication barrier. Communication barrier is an obstacle that prevents the receiver from receiving and understanding the message that has been sent by a sender. If a message is not understood clearly, it may lead to communication gaps, causing confusion and misunderstanding. It is therefore essential that the communicators seeks feedback to check that the message was clearly understood. Now, there are some barriers to effective communication. You should know, you should be aware of these. Number one barrier is the physical barrier. Physical barriers means technological problems with equipment used for communication is a physical barrier. For example, weak signal may prevent proper contact and cause dissatisfaction and irritation among the people communicating. Emotional barrier. Some people find it difficult to express their emotions appropriately during communication. For example, a worried person cannot communicate properly. Thus, at this time of communication, both the receiver and sender needs to be in the right frame of mind psychologically. Perceptual barrier. The receiver may not look at things the same way as the person who is communicating. This causes communication gaps because there is a disagreement between sender and receiver. Cultural barrier. Social interaction varies in different cultures. What may seem like an appropriate gesture in one culture might be inappropriate in another. For example, making eye contact is considered a good communication technique in the US, but in most African countries, making eye contact with a senior person is considered to be disrespectful. Language barriers. Not using words another can understand well certainly stop your message from being conveyed. This applies to language differences, using buzzwords as slangs, the essence and descent of people belonging to different places. Gender barriers. Variation exists among masculine and feminine styles in communication. While women often emphasizes politeness, empathy, male communication is often more direct. This means that a man talks in a linear and logical way. A woman talks more freely, mixing logic and emotion, feature of both sides of the brain. Attitudinal barriers. Certain people like to be left alone. They are the introverts or just people who are not very social. Others like to be social. Both these cases could become a barrier to communication. Some people have attitude issues like ego and inconsiderate behaviors. Now, next topic is handling barriers to communication. Students, there are some practical ideas for dealing with barriers to communication so that all of your exchanges as well as small business owner or part of a team in an office are as productive as they can be. Number 1. Engage in face-to-face interactions. Whenever possible, in case you have no choice but to send a quick text or email, be sure to follow up later to see questions and to ensure that your message was understood. Reduce or eliminate distractions around you. Noise from other people and office machines can sink even the most pleasant interactions, dooming them to a rough start. Try to access the needs of the receiver. Develop an empathetic stance and, if possible, tailor your message according to actors such as age, culture, education, experience, gender, and race, lifestyle, and upbringing. Hone your active listening skills. The University of Mind suggests a 5-step approach to this alert and engaged listening style. Acknowledge the other person's ideas, thoughts, or feelings. Paraphrase the other person's words to ensure understanding. Ask questions without judging. Summarize and clarify what you hear. Offer your opinion if it is requested. Organize your thoughts. Many communications go haywire because the purpose is hazy in the mind of the sender. And if it is hazy in the mind of the sender, it might be complete blur to the recipient. Soften your tone and language. To defeat any attitudinal barriers, it can help immensely to maintain a gentle, reassuring tone and use simple language. Keeping sentences short and direct can also help to prevent any misunderstandings. Encourage feedback. All you can do is ask the receiver if the message was understood as per intentions. Now, students, there are some common barriers to effective communications which you must avoid. These are second guessing the sender. We do this when we are impatient with the speaker and are in a hurry to finish the sentence for the speaker. It takes away from the speaker the opportunity to complete what was being said. Number 2, stereotyping. We often form stereotypes about those whom we know the least. Once our mental sets are created, all our transactions are affected by that. Third, hollow effect. This is another form of stereotyping. Based on a single characteristics, we make up our mind, usually positively, about the other person. Number 4, not listening as a status or gender issue. Studies have shown that men listen much less than women do. Similarly, those in positions listen less to those who are lower in hierarchy. How well do we listen to our children or our subordinates? If a woman employee is speaking, are men colleagues as attentive as they would be when a male colleague speaks up? Now, students, principles of communication. We all wish to communicate our ideas and thoughts effectively. There are some principles that must be followed for communication to be successful. These communications are: number 1, seek first to understand, then diagnose and prescribe. The most important principle of communication is that we should understand the other person with our mind, heart, and soul, deeply, without judging, without censoring. Number 2, face to face communication is most effective. It means a face to face discussion can give us much better results in a face to face interaction. We are also able to observe and respond to verbal and non verbal cues. The inconsistency between the two offer feedback and seek clarifications. Communication becomes complex as the number of people we are communicating with increases. It means as the number of people increases, stimuli feedback channels also increase and communication becomes complex. Suppose you are talking to a group of 5 persons. 4 of them are listening intently to you while the fifth one seems bored and uninterested. If you continue, you have lost the opportunity to understand the reason for his or her disinterest and modify your delivery. Next, communication across cultures differs. It means cultural differences must be respected and kept in mind while communicating. It is a good idea to find what about the culture, traditions, and costumes of another country or state you are visiting for the first time. Next is feedback. It is the key to effective communication. Communication transactions can continue to evolve effectively in the presence of feedback. Now, the next topic is the 7 C's of communication. Number 1, be clear. It means being every message by asking the question, what is the purpose of this communication? This will enable you to make the objective of your communication clear to the recipient. Clarity is also about avoiding the use of complex words, sentences, and fuzzy language. Number 2, be concise. Make your message brief and to the point. Being concise will save time for both you and the receiver of your message. To help make your communications more concise, avoid going over the same point several times and avoid the use of filler words, sentences, and over wordy expressions. Although we are trying to be concise, it is important to remember that we are not trying to lose completeness. Third, be concrete. Concrete communication is about being specific and clear rather than vague, obscure, and general. To be more concrete, use sentences that cannot be misinterpreted. Fourth is be correct. Incorrect information does not help anyone and it does your credibility no good. Ensure that your message is typo free, your facts and figures are correct, and you are using the right level of language. Next is be coherent. Does your message make sense? Does it flow logically from one sentence to the next? To ensure that your communication is coherent, check that each sentence flows logically from one to the next and check that you have not tried to cover too many points or been distracted by side issues. Next is be complete. Your message must contain all the necessary information to achieve the desired response. To ensure that your message is complete, think about questions the receiver might think of as they receive your message. Address these questions. Next, be courteous. Be polite. You are more likely to get what you want from your communication. If you are courteous, as courtesy builds goodwill. Check that your communication is polite, shows respect for the feelings of the receiver, and is tactful. Make your message brief and to the point.